When I was in the mob posing as an alpha despite being an omega, I messed with this military academy cadet. After getting busted and thrown in prison, the alpha I'd personally trained became the warden. In the solitary cell, he provoked me into heat, grinding his boot against my vulnerable scent gland to humiliate me. Getting off on this? Pathetic. I lifted my eyelids lazily. Press harder. Did you skip breakfast? The new warden's arrival caused a stir. Inmates drooled over the figure in crisp uniform. Damn, that new warden's fine. A cellmate leered, tracing the air where the man's waist dipped into powerful hips. That V-line. Those legs total package. My gaze followed the imaginary curves from tapered waist to muscular thighs. When I looked up, Zach's icy stare pinned me. Shit. My scent gland tingled. I'd specifically trained Zach's core and leg strength myself. Preferred my playthings rough. The man had raw power, my favorite toy back in the day. Zach's glacial scan passed over me before softening as he turned to listen to Officer Mason. Some beta pencil pusher. That warmth in his eyes? Never got that from him. Not once. Daily interrogations since intake. Mason was saying, but nothing works. Guy's got a steel trap for a mouth. They meant me. The warden's cap shadowed half his face, but I caught the tension in his jaw when he gritted out my name. Liam took worse beating in South District gang wars than anything federal interrogation dishes out. Pain doesn't faze him. Zach's voice dropped. I'll handle his processing personally. Mason bristled. Why? Think I can't handle trash like him? The little beta practically lived for our torture sessions. Don't overthink it. Zach's tone gentled in a way that made my molars ache. Just streamlining operations. Smart move. Wouldn't want his precious Mason stumbling across certain indiscretions. Like how the Federation's golden boy spent 5 years undercover as my bed warmer to bring me down. They called it deep cover ops to save face. But the real dirt? When I found out Zach carried a torch for this pencil neck, I lured Mason to my estate by confessing. Had Zach bent over the bathroom counter while his crush waited in the parlor. Funny how the angrier he got, the harder he fucked me. Left bruises blooming across my thighs, teeth marks on my shoulder. I slapped him mid-thrust just to watch his eyes darken. Exciting, isn't it? I purred before he muffled me with his palm. Later, I strolled out shirtless to greet Mason. Love bites on full display. Apologies for the wait. I grinned, licking split lips. New Omega's quite addictive. Let my gaze drop to Mason's crotch. Want to borrow him sometime? He's very accommodating. The memory still tastes sweet. Almost as sweet as the panic in Zach's eyes when I'd said it. Mason's face flushed crimson as he listened, refusing to meet my gaze while muttering asshole through gritted teeth. I didn't mind his insults. Mason had been instrumental in molding Zach into my perfect plaything. Whenever I threatened Zach with Mason's safety, he'd endure any humiliation, trying every position I demanded, even occasionally whispering sweet nothings through clenched teeth. During my prison reflection sessions, I concluded that arrogance breeds downfall. When I'd first incorporated Mason into my games, I never imagined becoming the caged spectator watching Zach and him canoodle before me. Should have fucked Zach to death on my silk sheets when I had the chance. No prison bars then. Recreation period ended. As I brushed dirt off my jumpsuit, someone pressed against my back, nostrils grazing my scent gland patch. Liam, the intruder breathed. You smell divine. Adrenaline spiked. My elbow cracked his nose before spinning to pummel his bleeding face against concrete. Still think I'm fragrant, fucker. I growled, yanking his collar. He licked bloodied lips, grinning maniacally, like wild strawberries. His whisper ghosted my ear. My knuckles met his teeth again. The stun baton struck my spine mid-swing. Convulsing on cold asphalt, I felt handcuffs bite into wrists. Polished boots entered my blurred vision. Prisoner 2745. Zach's detached cop voice announced. 5 days solitary for assault. Bastards definitely settling old scores. The isolation cell compressed time and space. My swelling scent gland throbbed. Zach had triggered my rut early. Strawberry pheromones saturated the air. Biting my forearm, I rode the crashing waves of primal need and psychological void. 25 years of solo ruts had trained me for this. Before Zach, I'd survived by barricading doors and white-knuckling through. Everyone who discovered my Omega status ended up dead. My handiwork. Zach's reluctant participation had made heats bearable. I'd taunt him until his alpha instincts overrode hatred, letting his cedarwood scent douse my flames through brutal couplings. Even now, phantom memories of his teeth on my neck made me shudder. Fingers slipped beneath waistband when the cell door clanked. Zach entered carrying dim lantern light, taking measured seat across from me. His regulation gloves creaked as they gripped the metal chair. I stared at Zach's face, licking my parched lips as my vision blurred and my hands grew reckless. Tipping my head back with labored breaths, I deliberately let out a moan. Zach remained unmoved. Of course he'd be disgusted. If I hadn't forced him back then, Zach wouldn't have deigned to touch me at all. Every entanglement served as my antidote but became his humiliation. At this point, I didn't expect Zach to lower himself to comfort me. I just wanted to get off while staring at that face of his. Maybe even coax out his pheromones if possible. No such luck. Zach stayed ice cold, casually crossing his legs as he leaned back to watch me squirm, observing my feverish state with detached interest. After prolonged scrutiny, he cut straight to business. Where's Ron's drug facility? Ron Strong headed the federal crime syndicate, my direct superior. That facility represented the golden goose of illegal pharmaceuticals, hidden so well that federal investigations had turned up empty for years. My lifeline depended on keeping this secret. Want to know? I panted against the wall, boldly raking my gaze over him. Release some pheromones. Let me smell you. Leaning forward until our breaths mingled, Zach trailed fingers near his scent gland. Crawl closer then. His voice dropped. If you want it that badly. I swallowed hard, already imagining his scent as I scrambled forward, clutching his pant leg while straining upward. Suddenly Zach kicked me flat with his boot, cold leather sole crushing against my vulnerable scent gland. You think you deserve my pheromones? He ground down viciously. Still treating me like your obedient mutt? This was payback. When I'd first captured the fresh-faced military cadet, he'd fought me tooth and nail. I drugged him into rut, that primal state where even proud alphas beg. Yet I denied him every comfort, breaking his defiance until he became the bedmate who channeled hatred through passion. Zach increased pressure, drawing an involuntary whimper from me. Pathetic, he sneered. Getting off on this? Truth was, the friction alleviated my gland's maddening itch. I met his glare defiantly. Put some backbone into it, or find me another alpha. Heat haze threatened my control. I needed him gone before I spilled secrets. Zach's expression darkened. Clearly frustrated, his humiliation tactics backfired. The man made a terrible villain. Even while pinning me down, he still played by my rules. Zach withdrew his foot and yanked me up from the floor. Would any alpha do as long as they can make you feel good? Obviously. I grinned recklessly. Not like I get to be picky these days. If the warden's feeling charitable, maybe find me someone decent looking? His lips pressed into a thin line, gaze sharp as blades. Liam, you're disgusting. Disgusting? This from the man who used to lick every inch of my skin? I scoffed, the restless pheromones making the corners of my eyes burn red with agitation. Done lecturing? Going to call someone in or not? Zach sneered. Why should I help you get off? This is a prison, not your playground. No boys here for your entertainment. He shoved me away, leaning back with cruel detachment. Suffer through it. The fever intensified, sweat-soaked fabric clinging to my skin as I writhed on the concrete. Zach's voice cut through the haze. Tell me where the drug facility is, and I'll give you pheromones. Since when did the dog try to train its master? Too drained to laugh, I reached for my vulnerable scent gland. Are you insane? Zach grabbed my wrist, pupils constricting. The heat tsunami overwhelmed rational thought. I'd have crawled to him, promised anything for relief. My skull cracked against concrete as I tried to knock myself out. Zach watched me thrash before tearing off his suppressant patch. Citrus notes flooded the dark cell, coaxing my raging pheromones into reluctant calm. I leaned into him instinctively. His fingers hovered near my gland when the comm device buzzed. Warden. Riot in the mess hall. Lieutenant Mason's down. Cold efficiency returned as Zach reapplied his patch. Send medics. En route, the abrupt pheromone severance left me gasping his name into empty air. Don't just touch me again. He was already gone. When the door next opened, the heat had reduced me to trembling weakness. I didn't need to look up. The footsteps announced Mason, the man who'd spent 3 months interrogating me upon arrival. The same footsteps that once made my muscles seize with remembered agony. Mason's methods were meticulous. First flaying clothes with his whip, then skin, stitching me back together himself after each session. His breathing always quickened during punishments, eyes glittering with restrained frenzy. Calloused fingers rubbed my scent gland. Liam, the East District's most notorious crime lord, and Omega. His thumb ground the suppressant patch into my flesh. What do you think would happen if the alpha inmates found out? The whisper carried velvet menace. They'd ruin you. His nail dug into the patch. Keep your pheromones leashed. Stop tempting Zach. Otherwise, I have countless ways to make your existence unbearable. These two were actually engaged in mutual pining. Liam remained unaware that the other participant in those erotic recordings he'd overheard was none other than Zach. How deliciously ironic. Baring my teeth in a predatory grin, I retaliated. Officer White, did Zach ever mention me to you? My voice dripped venom. Do you know I used him as my personal heat relief toy for 5 straight years? Leaning closer, I hissed. Zach's pheromones are shameless little traitors. No matter how much their owner resists, they'll still beg my scent to fuck them senseless. Summoning residual strength, I suddenly flipped Mason over, crushing him beneath me with my hand around his throat. Has Zach ever shown you that kind of desperation? Witnessed him lose all control? I inhaled sharply at his scent gland, lips brushing his ear. Tell me, Mason, does he even get hard for you? The bastard remained eerily calm beneath my chokehold, pupils dilated with perverse arousal, breathing accelerating. Goddamn it. I was giving this twisted pretty boy a hard-on instead of provoking him into shooting me. My backup plan of faking critical injury for medical transfer to off-planet facilities crumbled. This porcelain-faced psychopath wouldn't give me the satisfaction of anger. Darkness clouded my vision as my grip tightened. This might be my only chance to eliminate Mason permanently. Even if I failed, killing a federal investigator would warrant transfer to maximum security. Any spaceship ride could become an escape opportunity. Suddenly Mason smiled through strained breaths. After returning to federal custody, Zach underwent 6 months of psychological rehabilitation. He scrubs himself raw. Liam, you make him feel so filthy he's developed actual self-loathing. His words slithered like poison. What's the point of coercion? Zach could never, love you. The unexpected verbal dagger pierced my chest. Crimson haze blurred my vision. Since when did I ever want that ice prince's affection? The containment cell door exploded inward. Boots cracked across my ribs, sending me sprawling. Through pain-blurred eyes, I watched Zach help Mason up with uncharacteristic gentleness. You all right? Just tried delivering a suppressant patch. Mason coughed weakly, the picture of victimhood. Fucking scheming bitch outplayed me. Take this inmate to interrogation. Zach's glacial command left no room for argument. Agony lanced through likely broken ribs as guards hauled me up. I stared at Zach's rigid back, bitterness overflowing. He started it. The cold click of a safety disengaging froze my blood. Zach aimed his service pistol between my eyes. Inmate 2745. This isn't your gang-controlled South District. His voice could frost solar cores. Attempted murder of federal personnel warrants immediate execution. Remember, your pathetic life belongs to the state now. We locked eyes for eternity before I raised shackled hands. Smirk bleeding desperation. Wouldn't dream of it, Warden. The lie tasted like ashes. Never again. Fucking hell. My heat-addled brain actually tried justifying myself to the alpha who hates me most. Pathetic. Post-interrogation whipping session. I palmed a smuggled scalpel. In the communal showers, Wayne sidled close. Nailed the act. Right, boss? I roughly tousled his hair. Shut it. Our carefully choreographed confrontation needed to look authentic, hence letting this rookie mention my pheromones to trigger real rage. Only genuine fury would convince Zach's lie detectors. This whole charade served dual purposes. Secure solitary confinement to ride out impending heat, and test prison security protocols. Every scream, every drop of blood spilled, brought me closer to escape. The second attempt was to test Zach, preparing for the escape. Since Stone Peak Prison stood on a barren planet, obtaining Zach's pheromones could bypass AI verification and grant half the prison's access. Securing his neural implant would let me pilot the spacecraft, ensuring absolute success. I needed to deceive Zach once more. Though I'd taken the interrogation room knife, Zach should have discovered it immediately. Yet 3 days passed without confrontation. On the fourth post mining shift, guards finally escorted me to a chamber. Relieved he'd finally acted, I'd have needed alternative plans otherwise. I found Zach reviewing documents behind a desk. Stone Peak's chaotic magnetic fields forced reliance on paper records. Hand it over, he commanded without looking up. And what? I feigned ignorance. The blade you stole. No idea what you're. He rose, fingers sliding into my pants pocket, knuckles brushing my thigh through thin fabric. I blew against his Adam's apple. Harassing an inmate. Warden? Ignoring me, he found nothing in my pockets. Gripping my jaw, he forced my mouth open, teeth stripping his right glove before probing inside. Retrieving the saliva-slicked blade, he tossed it aside. Concealing weapons warrants electroshock. I licked his retreating fingers. Don't hold back. Zach remained impassive. Liam, do you fear death? All creatures fear extinction, especially those clinging desperately to survival. Then obey. His breath warmed my ear. Serve your sentence. Reform. I chuckled. Life without parole. Warden. Rehabilitation meant nothing here. Better than a coffin. Disagreeing, both were prisons. I edged toward the discarded blade. Remember that Omega inmate? Found with her scent glands shredded. Self-defense isn't a crime. Zach. As he seized my wrist, I ripped the inhibitor patch from his neck and mine. Citrus pheromones erupted, tangling hungrily with mine, defying their master's control. Zach's eyes blazed crimson, fury and primal hunger warring. You. My lips silenced him. He retaliated viciously, hands anchoring my skull as teeth punished my mouth. Amateur. Pinned against the desk. I arched into his mouth, trailing down my throat. Harder. Coaxed. Fingers threading through his hair. He obliged with a sharp bite. Smirking, I whispered, "Rip these clothes off, puppy." Liam, he growled mid-shred. "I'm not your." Could have fooled me. My hips tilted as his teeth found collarbone. When his trembling fingers hesitated at my waistband, I purred encouragement. His choked plea vibrated against my pulse. Liam, Lieutenant. I licked my lips, guiding his hand downward. Go ahead. Fuck me to death. Just as things heated up, knocking interrupted us. Mason's voice came through the door. Warden, are you in there? Zach stiffened, pupils dilating with perverse excitement. This felt familiar. I trained Zach well. His body instinctively reacted to Mason's voice. A true deviant at heart. I fanned the flames, whispering against his ear. Your deputy's calling. Warden. Zach's grip tightened on my scent gland. Voice strained but professional. Report. Prisoner 2745 is missing during cell inspection. Mason answered. Zach pinned me against the desk. All bureaucratic composure. Under interrogation. After a beat, Mason tried again. Zach? My stitches ripped. Need you to redress them. As if I'd let that pretty boy interrupt. When Zach opened his mouth to respond, I hooked my legs around his hips, bearing my gland. Mark me, Zach. Make me your Omega. His breath hitched. You're asking for my bite? Claim me. When I'd first dragged this golden boy to my bed, he'd kept trying to sink his teeth in during sex. I slapped him bloody for it. That time he almost succeeded. I'd kneed him in the ribs and ground my boot into his cheek. Try biting me again. I'll yank those fangs out with pliers. Why won't you let me? He'd rasped, lips swollen from my punches. I'd laughed. You think some privileged alpha pup deserves to collar me? No one would own me. Getting marked meant surrendering control, becoming some pheromone-dependent weakling clinging to their alpha. I'd die before becoming that pathetic. Zach had looked genuinely confused. Then what is this? We've slept together. Multiple times. His precious upbringing taught that betting an Omega meant lifelong commitment. Even when coerced. Even when I was everything his upstanding family despised. Fuck buddies. I shrugged. You're just a living dildo for my heats. That's when I saw real hatred in his eyes. For months afterward, he'd only look at me to hurl insults between rough fuckings. When business partners sent Omega escorts to my estate, Zach called me a slut while pounding me hard enough to bruise. Even tried arm wrestling the poor kid afterward. Now Zach's atoms apple-bobbed feverishly against my throat. Mason's voice faded to static as he devoured my gland, teeth grazing but never breaking skin. His entire body trembled, caught between years of conditioning and the drug of my submission. I suspect my gland is swollen from his sucking. He's driving me insane with this torture. Frustrated, I grip his shoulders, panting, "Are you going to bite or not? If not, get the hell out." The gland is pierced abruptly. My eyes fly open, vision blurring. Fuck. It's euphoric. The air fills with citrus. South District thugs excel at manufacturing hallucinogens. They inject Omega's glands with that poison before gifting them to Federation officials. Harvesting scandals for blackmail. Control the Federation through filth. Zach once despised those corrupt bureaucrats. Called them maggots. Never imagined he'd fall to the same cheap tactics. I pull a police uniform from Zach's closet, cinch the belt tight, and stand by the bed watching him sleep. My hand closes around his throat. This man once shared my bones and blood, knew my deepest secret. Then, when I was most vulnerable, he partnered with Mason to personally deliver me to prison. He should be dead. But I release him, adjusting Zach's police cap before kissing his forehead. Goodbye, pet dog. I've always been lenient with beloved pets. Pray to the great star child that we never meet again. Otherwise, I'll take his life. At midnight, I disable all prison security protocols and take Wayne to the launch pad. When we locate Zach's ship, I pause, glancing back. Wayne asks, "What's wrong?" It's too quiet. An hour since I hacked the systems. Yet the prison remains silent. Unnatural. Boss? Wayne presses. I shake my head. Doesn't matter. Once that ship ignites, freedom's mine. The hatch opens. My unease evaporates, until I see Zach lounging in the pilot's seat, calmly loading energy rounds into his pistol. Fucking trap. I shove Wayne backward. Run. Gunfire cracks. Wayne collapses screaming, clutching his bleeding thigh. I freeze. Leave me. Wayne gasps, sweat-drenched face tilted up. Go. Boss. Zach shoots him through the shoulder. Blood sprays Wayne's cheek, but he grins viciously. Do it. Finish me. Request granted. Zach states coldly. Executing a convict means nothing to him. Idiot. Why provoke him? Gritting my teeth, I kneel before Zach, shielding Wayne. Sweat drips down my neck. Please, sir, he's young. My escape plan, he's innocent. Wayne tugs my shirt hem, voice breaking. Boss, don't beg this bastard. Get up. Ron delivered Wayne to me at 16. 6 years. He's killed for me, taken bullets for me. After my arrest, Wayne turned himself in to join me at Stone Peak. Go, he'd said. I couldn't let them bully you alone. Where you go, I follow. Truth is, I'm easily appeased. If someone shows me the slightest kindness, I tear my heart out for them. Zach's eyes burned with feral rage, his grip white-knuckled around the pistol. Move. If you don't step aside, I'll put a bullet through you first. I crawled toward him, wrapping my hand around the barrel and pressing it to my forehead. Then shoot me. Zach shoved the gun harder against my skin, the steel biting into flesh. You really think I won't do it? I did. They'd gone through hell to capture me. The Federation hadn't even begun extracting intel. No way they'd let me die. Besides, if he truly wanted me dead, why's his hand shaking? Curling my fingers around Zach's trembling wrist, I locked onto his stormy gaze. Go ahead. Pull the trigger. This was a gamble. Stop lying. Liam, you're too selfish to die for anyone. His voice cracked. I studied him dispassionately as his composure shattered. With a strangled noise, he suddenly yanked the gun away, seizing my throat to drag me closer. You saved him. Why didn't you save me back then? Why did you abandon me? The pistol jabbed viciously into my sternum. You've got a heart? Each word ground between his teeth. But you refused to give it to me. You called me your dog. Worse than a dog. His laugh scraped raw. When you fled Fong City, you took the damn hounds. Left me behind. Memory flickered. Zach held hostage during that botched deal years ago. A gun to his temple. I'd lit a cigarette, blowing smoke at his captors. Keep the toy if you like it. Walked out without glancing back. Later, when Federation forces stormed Fong City, I heard Zach scream my name amid gunfire. Looked over my shoulder as he bled out from a stray bullet. Boarded the dropship anyway. I'd known he'd survive. Zach was the Federation Marshal's son, their golden boy. Letting him go was mercy. Yet he crawled back. Not to the Federation, but to me, rescued by local syndicates. When he'd confronted me with bloodshot eyes, demanding why I'd discarded him, I had no answer. Guilt made me indulge his every whim, even when he chased off all the other boys at the estate. I spoiled him rotten, until he teamed up with Mason and personally cuffed me. I never realized the truth. The Federation had reached Zach first in Fong City. Returning to me was his choice, a sanctioned mission to deliver his vengeance. Fair's fair. Liam. Zach's pupils dilated, unhinged. You'll suffer everything I endured. As a Class S fugitive, all punishments fell to him. He'd strap me to the electro chair, triggering my heats until interrogation chambers reeked of cloying strawberries. I loathed my omega stench, the pitch black cells, loathed how Zach made me beg. The Iron Lady of Southern District doesn't cry. Yet tears dripped onto his sweat-slicked shoulders as citrus and berry rot fused during his brutal claiming. After that, every heat left me writhing at his feet. I sank teeth into his collarbone in retaliation. Zach merely gripped my jaw, thumb smearing tear tracks. How does it feel being someone's toy? His mouth brushed my ear. Vicious. Don't cry. You earned this. I slapped him across the face. You bastard. I never did 7 times a day even back then. A month later, Wayne caused an explosion in the prison and barged into the interrogation room during the chaos. Drugged and weakened, I felt Wayne's blood soaking through his clothes from old wounds on his leg and shoulder as he carried me. The warden, Zach, pursued close behind. At this rate, neither of us would escape. I patted Wayne's shoulder. Let me go. Save yourself. Gritting his teeth with red-rimmed eyes, Wayne shook his head. We're getting out together. As we rounded the corridor, Mason appeared ahead. He raised his gun and fired into Wayne's abdomen. I struggled free from Wayne's back and stumbled toward Mason. Go. Leave me. They won't kill me until they get what they want. You should. Mason's pupils suddenly constricted. He lunged forward, yanking me aside as gunfire erupted. An energy round grazed my arm, pulling me against his heaving chest. Mason fired past me. My ears rang as I slowly turned. The first shot had come from Wayne's gun, directly where my heart would have been. Without Mason's intervention, I'd be a corpse now. Wayne tried to kill me? Shoving Mason away, I threw myself at Wayne, grabbing his bloodied collar. You wanted me dead? My vision blurred red. Wayne raised trembling fingers toward my face, stopping millimeters away. Liam, I'm sorry. Blood bubbled from his lips as he clutched my shirt with desperate strength. Don't go out. He'll kill you. Ron knows everything. His body went slack. Staring at my crimson-stained hands, I seized a nearby gun and emptied 5 rounds into his corpse. Betray me. They all fucking betrayed me. Mason wrestled the weapon away. Enough. He's gone. Gasping for air, I stared at Wayne's body. No escape now. Ron must have discovered my double-crossing. Death awaited whether I stayed or fled. Karma for the wicked? If hell claimed me, I'd drag everyone down too. Want my confession? I laughed hoarsely at Mason. I'll tell you everything. Lieutenant White, take my statement. Mason knelt, wiping blood from my hands with a pristine handkerchief. You need rest. Did you go deaf? I said I'm talking. Are you injured? His calm infuriated me. Fine. If you won't take it, I'll find someone else. I tried standing, but Mason shoved me down, pinning my shoulders. Wake up, he growled. You're not South District's kingpin anymore. Ron wants you dead. If you talk, You become worthless, the feds will eliminate you too. Liam, don't throw your life away. Life? I sneered. What life? Shouldn't you be celebrating? Officer White, with me gone, Zach would be all yours. Shut up. Mason's veins bulged as he hissed. You won't abandon me again. My hands trembled. What did you call me? Mason's eyes turned glacial. Forgotten already? I knew you wouldn't remember. His voice held the bitterness of anticipated betrayal, yet still quivered with wounded pride as he spat. Liar. A shun, the name Ron gave me when I became his property. As Ron's lieutenant running human trafficking operations in the underground market, Ron had taken me under his wing during my second year in that hellhole. He called me obedient, hence the moniker. Omegas in the black market only had two choices: sell their bodies or sell their glands. I carved out a third option by mutilating my own scent gland with a rusted scalpel, becoming damaged goods unfit for sale but perfect for enforcing Ron's will. My survival depended on being more vicious than his alpha enforcers, more subservient than the broken Omegas we traded. Zach came to us at 8 years old, a procurement error since the slavers mistook the beautiful boy for an Omega. By 12, his striking features became marketable as alpha tastes shifted. When Ron prepared to sell him, I pleaded for mercy. My defiance earned Zach a botched escape attempt and me a shattered finger when Ron pressed his boot against my mangled hand. Run again, Ron sneered, tossing my severed digit at Zach's feet, and I'll break both his legs. The memory of Zach cradling my dismembered finger, howling like a wounded animal, still claws at my nightmares. The night before his auction, I whispered promises into his tear-damp hair. Wait for me. I'll come for you. It took 12 years to fulfill that vow. 12 years of climbing the Southern District's criminal hierarchy under Ron's patronage. 12 years of planting evidence to bring federal agents crashing down on Ron's operation. 12 years of meticulously erasing every trace of our past until I stood powerful enough to reclaim what was mine. The trail led to the Graham family. They claimed to have adopted my Zach. When I first saw Zach in his crisp academy uniform, surrounded by laughing classmates, I almost believed the lie. Here was everything I'd fought to give him. Sunlit days untainted by our shared darkness. My scarred hands could never touch this golden youth who walked the righteous path I'd paved with corpses. Better to let him believe in justice while I strangled the underworld threats that dared approach him. For years, I watched from shadows as Zach traded school blazers for military insignia. My carefully constructed endgame involved dying by his hand, a final atonement. Then the truth detonated like a grenade. Zach wasn't my Zach. All my sacrifices, my tenderly guarded delusions, curdled into bitter rage when federal agents raided my base. The sight of Zach's righteous glare ignited something feral. Here was no lost brother, just another self-righteous soldier begging to be broken. The Federation could never produce another Zach Graham. There would never be another soul as untainted and principled as Zach. That purity was something I'd painstakingly cultivated in him. So how dare he despise me? In my twisted logic, since he'd impersonated my ABO and reaped benefits in my name for so long, he owed me compensation. The night has every right to bask in the moonlight. I slowly corrupted Zach, becoming intoxicated with power plays and carnal desires. Gradually, I forgot my original purpose to find ABO. I waited 14 years for you. Do you have any idea how thrilled I was when you first invited me to the estate? I wore my finest suit, only for you to make me stand outside listening to you with Zach. Liam, I despise you. Why didn't you come find me? Why couldn't you see me when I was right in front of you? What's so special about Zach? Why take him hostage instead of me? I'd make a better toy more obedient than Zach. I'd come running at your slightest gesture, yet you only ever saw him. Mason's tears fell on my face. You forgot me long ago. Dazed, I argued, stop lying. ABO was an alpha. My hormones mutated at 18. I underwent secondary differentiation into beta. The face before me merged with the child who'd tearfully tended my wounds 12 years ago. The one who called me a shun. Shun, you're the most remarkable Omega. Shun, be good. The pain will pass. Shun, when we grow up, we'll escape. I'll kill them all for you. Was this karma? Those I trusted betrayed me. The one I wounded turned out to be the person I'd sought half my life. Goddamn cosmic joke. I tried wiping his tears, but my hands were filthy. Using the clean sleeve of his uniform, I smeared his cheek. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. I never realized it was you." The words died as officers hauled Mason off me. 2 inspectors restrained him with handcuffs. Zach approached, kneeling to clasp metal around my wrists. I offered no resistance. "Cuffing me's expected. But what's Deputy Mason's crime?" I sneered. "Dog eat dog now?" He murmured without meeting my eyes. "Murdering the warden. Harboring fugitives. Illegal arms stockpiling. Enough for 100 death sentences." My gaze snapped to Mason. He hung his head in silent confirmation. The realization struck like lightning, his harsh interrogations followed by careful wound dressings, threatening me with Omega status yet providing suppressant patches. Mason's bark had always been worse than his bite. As they led him away, I told Zach, "I'll confess. On one condition. Keep Mason alive." Zach wiped blood from my face, his touch incongruously gentle. "Liam, you show mercy to everyone but me. You'll never comprehend my hatred. I could have been the Federation's finest soldier. You destroyed that. You made me into this." Then walked away. "If I could do it all over, I'd kill you the first time we met without hesitation. But in this lifetime, I surrender. I'm weak. Can't let go. So I deserve this." He released me, tugged his cap lower to shadow his face, and said with chilling calm, "I'll keep my promise. Mason stays alive." Before confessing, I demanded to see Mason. The screen flickered to show him undergoing interrogation. He discovered Liam was an Omega. I'd been interrogating Liam for a year with zero progress. Under federal pressure, he wanted an alpha to mark Liam during his heat, to break him through biological manipulation. I had no choice. He was the warden. His death meant Liam's safety. I traced the inhibitor patch on my neck as I watched Mason's testimony. From day one, he'd secretly supplied my Omega suppressants and personally handled all my interrogations. His harshness served dual purposes, venting genuine resentment and keeping others from digging deeper. Federal interrogation tactics made Mason's whip strikes seem merciful. Closing my eyes, I told Zach, "Begin." They transported me to a remote penal colony on Chinmong after the trial. I never saw Zach again. 6 months later, Federal Marshal Graham stormed into my cell waving a plasma pistol. "Liam." The silver-haired marshal cocked his weapon. "I ought to blast you to stardust." I stared down the barrel without flinching. After firing 3 shots into the ceiling, he barked at guards, "Cuff this bastard." They dragged me to a glass-walled medical suite where Zach lay comatose, life sustained by a web of biotubes. Doctors swarmed like mechanical spiders around his still form. What happened? My voice cracked. Took down the entire Southern cartel single-handedly. The marshal's jaw tightened. Killed Ron in open combat. 23 ballistic wounds when they dragged him out. Reckless idiot burned every bridge. Feds and syndicates both want him erased. He flung a dossier at me. Pages chronicled my life from child trafficking victim to convict. Red XS marked every abuser's name. Ron's entry still smeared with dried blood. 3 years back, Ron had you in his crosshairs. The marshal stabbed a timestamp. Zach rushed you into protective custody at Sherfong prison. Threw away his career to play guardian angel in that radioactive hellhole. The medical team exited, leaving monitors beeping erratically. Only son I've got. The marshal gripped my shoulder hard enough to bruise. You breathe when he breathes. You die when he dies. That night, a steward named Mr. White escorted me to quarters. When I hesitated, he said quietly, "Mason's doing well. No more debts between you." I stared at Zach's biometrics glowing in the dark, the man who'd rewritten his execution orders into love letters, who'd turned federal warrants into wedding vows. The monitor's pulse line spiked as I pressed my palm to the glass. Some bonds, even death couldn't sever. I swallowed my words and pushed open the bedroom door. Perfect. Just perfect. The moment I stepped inside, I knew this was Zach's room. The faint scent of citrus hung in the air. I circled the space, finding a photograph on his nightstand. A 3-year-old boy in a miniature police uniform clutching a toy gun, chin lifted proudly. Suddenly I heard a woman's gentle voice in my memory. "What does our Liam want to be when he grows up?" "Liam wants to be a cop." I slammed the photo face down on the dresser, jaw clenched. A tear splattered the wood. Damn it. I stopped missing Mom years ago. And I sure as hell don't want to be a cop anymore. Since when did Zach keep shit like this around? On the 56th day, Zach woke. He studied me for a long moment before glancing at our joined hands. Who are you? Why are you holding my hand? My breath hitched. What fresh hell was this? Zach's father seemed downright pleased about his son's amnesia. He tried shipping me back to Cernan prison immediately. Before the transfer could happen, they had a screaming match in the hospital suite. Zach's father stormed out, smashing the living room to splinters. Ungrateful whelp. Disrespectful bastard. When guards asked about my return to prison, he roared. Return? Where? That rat stays here until Zach fully recovers. They kept me trapped there anyway. Once Zach could walk, he started prowling the mansion. He paused in his bedroom doorway, frowning. Why are you living in my room? I'll move to the guest wing tomorrow, I offered. His gaze sharpened. You sleep here. Are you my Omega? My throat tightened. I'm not. He pressed his lips into a thin line and stalked away. Should have lied. What's one more deception between us? Zach's father drowned himself in whiskey nightly, slurring complaints about Zach's defiance. One evening he abruptly said, Liam, you know you're dead either way. With the Southern District crime ring dismantled and Ron gone, the Federation would eliminate loose ends. Death was inevitable. I knew. After Zach recovered, they finally sent me to Cernan. 3 months later, federal agents delivered my sentence, life imprisonment. My head snapped up. This made no sense. They confined me to a cabin at Mount Cernan's base with a micro-explosive collar. 2 guards monitored me from a halfway house upslope. A round-faced beta brought provisions, whatever game his superior shot that day. Rabbit. Pheasant. Once, a dead snake dangled from his grip. Lieutenant says snake meats tender. I hate snake. What do you like then? Rabbit. So I ended up eating rabbit for a month. That day, I knocked out the round-faced beta and climbed halfway up the mountain. In front of that cabin, I found Zach. He sat with his back to me, sleeves rolled up, expertly skinning a rabbit. The blade danced in his hands. You're gonna hunt all the rabbits off this mountain, I said. Zach's knife clattered to the ground. He sprang up like electrocuted and bolted. Didn't see that coming. Chased his ass 2 miles before pinning him against a pine trunk. The hell you running for? Zach's Adam's apple bobbed as he turned away. The collar around his neck caught sunlight, identical to mine. My vision went red. I hooked a finger under the metal band. What's this shit? Why's a good boy like you wearing this? You're not the criminal here. Sudden clarity hit like buckshot. My survival had a price tag. Life sentence. Only it wasn't just me serving time. Zach kept staring at the dirt. Don't get the wrong idea. This changes nothing. I'm not asking for anything. Protecting my Omega is an alpha's duty. Even if you deny our bond, I marked you. Would have done the same for anyone I bit. Doesn't mean. I shut him up with teeth and tongue. When we broke apart, his lips glistened. Say what I want to hear. Like how you're hopelessly in love with me. Zach swallowed hard. Don't flatter yourself. It's not like Fine. I grinned. I'm the one addicted to you. His glare could start wildfires. I'm not falling for your lies. Your ears are red. Zach pressed his lips into a blade-thin line. What's the con this time? Spit it out. Karma's a bitch. Burn too many bridges and even your truths sound fake. I flicked his collar. Look at you. What's left to scam? His composure shattered. Then why kiss me? Get off. I stayed put, burying my face in his neck. You don't want me gone. Zach, you know I love you. The current prison warden used to be this criminal's pet. My gland was neutered once. Heat cycles come random, except when I see you. You're my permanent rut. My scent's been screaming it. I'm obsessed. No tricks. I cradled his face. This is my reckoning. Zach's eyes flickered with fragile hope. My puppy always responded to the right words. Citrus tangled with strawberry sweetness as I sucked his lower lip. Zach shuddered, fists clenched in my shirt. Put your damn patch on. My hands, still got rabbit blood. Don't use your hands. I unfastened his buttons. Stay still. Let me do this. Zach's eyes burned crimson. Liam? I smiled, kissing his chin. No moving. Keep those dirty hands off me. His breathing hitched. Arousal deepening. Masochist. Zach obeyed perfectly, letting me pin him down without daring to touch me. When passion peaked, I sank teeth into his scent gland in a futile attempt to claim him, leaving indentations as I stubbornly declared, "Mine now." The alpha panted beneath me, lashes fluttering as he covered his eyes with one arm and turned away, secretly smirking. There. Got him all worked up. Later, the round-faced beta got transferred too. On Chinmong Star's North Mountain stood a small prison. Its warden, an alpha, swore to guard the facility's sole inmate until death. A notorious Omega criminal. At classified federal hearings, young General Graham once removed his insignia to pledge, "I'll guard Liam for life within North Mountain's confines. Should I break this oath? Let me share his sentence."